The annual National Developers Convention brought up two issues: fresh solutions in urban development. We'll learn about the future of the housing market and more with the event's organizer, the Subdivision and Housing Developers Association Chairman, George Siy. George, thank you so much for joining us on The Final Word. What are the problems faced by the industry right now?
Well, the problems in the industry are like everyone else. They have got to do very much with prices of commodities, prices of production, as well as interest rates. Because not only on the development side, business side, but also on the buyer side. Because housing is a long-term purchase in which nearly everybody will borrow long-term, so interest rates would affect them. But from a production viewpoint, we have another problem, that is a growing housing shortage. So a few years ago, the surveys would show that the shortfall was about 3 million, and now, 2 years ago or so, the survey 3 years ago, it showed the survey is about 6 million, 6.5 million, and it continues to grow because our population is growing faster than our production of houses.
Right.
So
Okay.
yes.
So let's tackle the first problem: rising interest rates. Inflation is now at a 4-year high. You also have the Philippine peso continuing to weaken to historical lows against US dollar. How big are these impediments to the growth of the housing market, and what could be the solutions?
The unusual thing is sometimes events happen in the way we don't really expect. So in the last 2 years of the pandemic, it turns out that people continue to buy houses because of the OFW flow. So the industry did not significantly get reduced, although some players got hit and some players even improved their sales, those who were able to adjust because of digital marketing. But currently, the increase in prices is both a problem and an indicator of the direction that in order to have an inclusive economy, we have to get people started buying houses as soon as they are able to. Of course, not everyone will be able to, but the government has certain programs in the private sector, because nowadays, with the printing of money by all these governments, we expect the prices to continue rising. And for an economy, it is both a demand-driven industry in which the interest rates reflect the demand, but it's also a catalyst. So the production itself not only allows people to ride on the inflation, it also creates a catalyst for economic activity. And so the direction is actually quite clear what we should do.
What about the housing backlog of 6.5 million? What are the initiatives of the government and the private developers to address the shortfall?
The government has been working on with the private sector to try to streamline the processes, because the Philippines has notoriously long processes for getting permits for development. It would not be abnormal to take 2 to 3 years to get all the permits that you need. The government did take moves to lower interest rates for the lowest levels of housing. And currently, Secretary Apuzar has unveiled an ambitious program to try to reach 1 million houses production a year in order to catch up. Now, in order to do this, we would need together to do probably some level of interest rate control, some changes in the production processes, as well as the permitting processes. So they've also been going around and talking already to local governments to supply land or to be a part of the effort in producing these houses. We used to produce 200,000 to 300,000, yes.
So George, what is your outlook for the housing industry for the remainder of the year as we head to 2023?
For the remainder of the year, I would expect that continues to, because before the influences kick in substantially, we should be able to sell almost the same number of houses, but the following year might be different. Why I say this is because, well, there is this massive inflation that is happening around the world. The OFWs are earning in dollars, and they have saved a bit of money that they haven't brought home yet from the last 2 years pandemic, because aside from what they remit, they have amounts that they're bringing home. So the developers are hoping to be able to accelerate their production as well, because they want to create these sales, and in itself would be a big catalyst for the economy.
George, thank you so much for joining us on The Final Word. Subdivision and Housing Developers Association Chairman George Siy.